Oh, look at that! What a turbo! Hey guys, check this one out. We've got a problem with the turbo and we're going to have a look at it and give you a bit of information and try and work out what's going on. And is it a problem with the turbo? All right, so a quick look underneath the back. Oh, looks like it's got a bit of a lift kit being added in. Oh, look at that. Oh, we've got a diff breather maybe, a nice fancy red one. Getting up here, getting closer to the turbo. Oh, look at all this oil, all this dirty black oil. That's not gearbox oil because it's black. Right, turbo, what's going on here? Look, okay, a fair bit of oil all the way down here. So this has got messy. Gee, I wonder what's going on here. We need to ask an expert, get an expert in on the job. Let's have a look what's going on up here. Look at that. Oh. So what's going on here? What's going on here, mate? Oil everywhere. It's got an oil leak, has it?
Yes. Customer reported that after warm up it was blowing smoke, white blue smoke. So we asked him a few questions to find out what's going on, and after taking it for a test drive there was plenty of power in the engine, so we ruled out compression issues, and we suspected from the drive and the smoke it was pushing out, it might be a turbo problem.
Okay, so what's this guy's first name?
Lachlan.
Lachlan, the guy that texted me, and I was too busy to have a look at it, so I said, shoot me, let me know the details, and I sent him your number. And yeah, so there you go, guys. I am busy, but you can still shoot me a text if you've got something around Melbourne and you need someone to have a look at it. We've got 4x4 Diesel Workshop partners, so that's what's happening here. And so all this oil, not only is it an internal turbo leak, all the oil is actually leaking out everywhere. What a mess. So by the looks of this mess, I'd say someone's worked on it before. Is there evidence someone's worked on it before?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's probably why all this oil's leaking out. Otherwise it would all be staying inside, going in the exhaust system. The fact that it's leaking externally, something wasn't right with the gaskets there as well, yeah?
And also there's significant failure on the not the compression but exhaust wheel on the turbo.
Yep.
So I dare say that's created the oil leaking out.
Yep, the movement, so the wear in it, and then the seal's leaking internally. Lucky you didn't have a bit of a runaway situation, yeah? Where all the oil goes in there and away you go.
So
okay.
we've asked the customer to leave the vehicle. We've asked them not to drive it any further because it can do further damage to the engine if he keeps on driving. The engine felt a lot stronger, had more power than standard 1KZ, so there's how it could be over boosting.
Yep.
But the other fear factor is that the compressor wheel could be rubbing against the compressor housing, and all this aluminium will go back into the engine.
Not good.
So not good internally.
Let's have a look at the dump pipe and let's see if we can see any oil on that, eh? Okay, so this is the exhaust we've removed. Okay, so the evidence is here with all the... What's this blue gear? Is that Ultra Blue or something else? Is there another product that's blue like that? I don't know. I'm obviously don't see enough product, but anyway, Ultra Blue looks that colour. Good stuff, but not on exhaust systems. And yeah, I don't know. Is there something else blue that colour that you know of besides that Ultra Blue type stuff? Anyway, yeah, you can see it's a bit oily at the joint. You can see the oil in there. You can see the oil here as well. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? Only one way oil gets into exhaust like that. It's not super wet. It's like a lot of the oil has leaked out this joint, yeah? So there's kind of like almost more... Can I look down this end here? Oh yeah, no, that's wet. That's all wet down the bottom. Alright. It should be dry like the rest of it. You can see the wetness at the bottom. Right. Anyway, lucky he caught it when he did, I suppose. Did he say how long it's been that it's been doing this for? Did it something that just started or it built up slowly? Or
He said that since he did the head on it, that's when it started happening.
right. See, when you do a head, sometimes you've got better sealing at the valve end and it can blow because, you know, the bottom end is not as strong. So sometimes that can cause a bit of blowing smoke too. So, and then it sort of beds in as well. So, but I'm not too sure. I don't really do the major engine works with the 1KZs and heads and stuff like that. So maybe not. Okay, interesting. Definitely something going on there too. So yeah, I just went off and had a bit of a think about it for a minute, and it's been quite a few thousand K since the head was done, and so it's not related there. I just thought I'd put it out there that you've got to be aware when you do heads and that, it does create a lot more compression at that top end, and it can cause some issues with blowing smoke and burning a bit of oil at the other end for a little while until everything seats in. We have noticed in the past from experience, but let's get up there and have a look at this turbo and check out if we can get in there. Can we get a rod or something in there? And oh, look at that. That is awesome. I think we need to put this on the start of the video. That is sick. Look at that. Just a little bit of play there, mate. What do you reckon? That's just a little bit, isn't it?
That's major
Off its
play.
head, mate. Nah, she'll be right. Bolt it back. You got some more of that ultra grey, mate? Try ultra grey this time, different colour maybe. Yeah, that's off its head, guys, big time. So all that movement, and that's why the seal leaks. And lucky he sort of found it and got onto it at this point before it got worse. So yeah, just having a look at the vehicle, and only, what was it, a couple 100,000 Ks, was it? Is it under or over 200,000 this one?
Less than 200.
Less than 200,000 Ks. We see 1KZs with 300, 400, 500,000 Ks, and we don't see turbo problems. So maybe a lack of oil changes,
Possibly.
the lubrication side of it, maybe not letting the engine idle for the sufficient time after hotter highway runs. So just to quickly let you know, for the people that don't know, I'm sure all the people in the trade and people watching, all the people in the know already, but for the people that don't, if you're driving around normal sort of driving 40, 50, 60 Ks, picking up the kids from school, going to the shops and back, and you're not hitting any major highways or working the engine, generally you don't need to let it idle, but it might pay just to let it idle for a short period of time, 10 seconds even. Once you get into maybe 80K zones, or if you're towing in 80K zones, that sort of load, the heat it generates, I'd probably recommend letting it idle for at least 30 seconds to a minute. And obviously if you come, the main one is if you come straight off a highway at 100 Ks plus, the engine's doing a lot more work, creating a lot more heat than all those other slower speeds, lighter load conditions. So you should let the engine idle for at least 2 minutes before you switch the engine off. Maybe even a bit longer if you're towing. And something else to consider, when you know you're coming, I'm going to pull into that servo in 5Ks, might be time to start slowing down, mate. Back to 95, back to 90, back to, you know, as you get closer, slow down, come off the off-ramp really slow, save your brakes, save your fuel, let everything cool down, and then you can probably let it idle for a minute rather than sit there for a whole 2 minutes. So something to think about for the people that didn't know, because in the Toyotas, they don't actually have that big red label like a lot of sports cars do that say, you must let it idle and this sort of thing. You know, a lot of cars have that, or those warnings on the sun visors, where the Toyotas don't. It's not a big deal, but it doesn't mean you don't have to do it. It's something you should be considering, and maybe it hasn't been done, and maybe that's a contributor. I don't know. I'm certainly not a turbo expert, just sharing some general information and what we've got in front of us here, trying to help other people avoid the same problem. So we can replace this with a brand new genuine turbo, which we know how good they are and how long they normally last. So in my opinion, that's a fairly wise option. We can also get some repairs done. We have got an awesome, or who we believe to be a really awesome turbo specialist. And we're going to have some more videos with him coming soon, having a look at turbos, maybe even this one, all the common problems and what causes them. There could be a number of videos actually. So if you haven't already, now could be a good time to subscribe and turn that bell on so you don't miss that important information. We're going to go and see the turbo specialist with a 1KD turbo, and probably maybe with this one as well. Maybe not to repair, but maybe just to have a look at and help you understand from the specialist himself what causes the problems and why, and what you can do to avoid it. You know, we've given you a few tips, but that's probably not it. But you know, all this, you can see, you just got to be really careful who's worked on it. So the vehicle's only done what? Less than 200,000, and look at all this bloody blue junk on the exhaust, as if that was going to work to seal anything. Let's have a look in there as well. So hard to see in there. We're getting a bit closer. We can have a bit of a look-see in there. Now, a lot of soot. Now, this is the other thing to think about, right? Guys, can everybody tell me, what's that in there? What's all that black stuff, right? Now, if you've got a chip or a tune or a remap or an old set of flogged injectors, and I don't care what diesel it is, I don't care if it's a 1KD or a 1KZ, do you think having an old flogged set of injectors or a tune that creates a lot of smoke, which goes into your exhaust, which goes through your turbo, which helps cake up your EGR and all that stuff, do you think it's helpful? More good reasons to make sure your vehicle's running in peak conditions, all your filters are clean, all your sensors are clean, and of course those squirters are reasonably fresh. You don't want to replace them any more than necessary, but you've got to understand with a diesel, the injectors are wear and tear items, and we do recommend replacing them. On these 1KZs, it's more of a, in my opinion, it's more like you could probably do them every 150, 200,000 Ks. A lot of diesel specialists will say replace them every 100,000, but that's probably because they're rebuilding them, making extra money out of them, and they don't do it as good as a new one. The new ones last a good 150, 200,000 Ks. We only use brand new genuine. So yeah, something to think about what you want to do with your injectors. Keep rebuilding them every 100,000 or throw a new set in and you're good for, you know, even longer than 200,000 if you're doing highway Ks. What year is this, guys? You know what year it is? This vehicle, do we know exactly? Is it an 2006, I thought too, yeah, when he originally texted me with his name, vehicle details and everything as requested. Thank you. So anyway, guys, that's it. With this one, it's going to get a brand new genuine turbo. Stay tuned, there may be a turbo replacement removal installation video at a later date, but I'm not sure about that. But anyway, you know the deal. Subscribe, turn the bell on. Please give us a thumbs up if you learned something out of that, and there'll be more informative videos coming your way, guys. Thanks for watching. See ya. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
Bada bing!
Bada boom!
All right.